Hello, everybody. When's another beautiful, beautiful autumn day in Eau Claire? This is, if you've ever seen this spot, not so far as the crow flies, probably less than a mile from where I was last week. This is County F. It's basically between where St. Bede's Monastery used to be and where the Ferguson Apple Orchard is on Highway F. So maybe get a chance to drive by and take in some of this beauty. So wanted to see something expansive and this with a lot of blue sky, and I was actually heading toward this little lake on Double I, and I thought, well, this looks pretty sweet. I think I'm going to stop here. So a few things going on. Keep you up to date on some parish news first, and then a couple thoughts on this and that, as always, right? So we have our outdoor mass coming up. We are doing about 2 per month right now, and so the next one will be at 6 o'clock on Saturday evening, and we're gonna have a baptism at it, which would be great. We had a baptism at our last outdoor mass, and it was a lot of joy there, so it's a good thing, right? So that's happening. Our regular masses, 4:30, 8 and 10 on Sunday, are still in place. I think we're going to try to pilot something here. Of course we want to sing. It's just like we thought we probably shouldn't, and the other parishes seem to be doing it, and so we're gonna just try this, see how it works, see if there's kind of a hunger for it, if people like it or not. And I'm gonna suggest, I keep forgetting to announce at the masses. I keep telling the staff I'll announce at the masses. So right now we're not really saying sing or don't sing. We just have songs going on, and if people know the songs and they want to sing, they sing. And if they don't, they don't. So the issue with singing, of course, is does it particles, as far as the virus spread, droplets, I guess they call them. So I think basically, and I'm not trying to micromanage every life, but I'm just seems like the smart thing to do from the staff perspective is, so if you want to sing along, and I want to sing along, I sing, and I have my mask on, so I feel like I can, it catches that stuff. If I weren't wearing a mask, I'd be reluctant to sing very loud. So biker, hey, so some bikers are like friendly, but most of them aren't. I find I wave at them and stuff, and they don't always wave back. I think bikers are independent-minded people or something. I don't know, but it's kind of funny. I don't know what your experience is, but we'll see. Maybe we'll get someone else go by and we'll have a different experience. So anyway, singing. So there's a difference between singing. Like if "Sing to the Mountains" is a song I like. So I guess unusual times I would kind of bellow it out. But nowadays I sing it, but I'll sing more like. Sing to the mountains, sing to the sea, raise your voices, lift your heart. I'm still singing, I feel like I'm part of it, but if it were normal times in church, I'd probably go, sing to the mountains, sing to the sea, raise your voices, lift your hearts. So it's different. You probably prefer I sing at lower volume anyway, just for the sound of it, but you can just feel the force of your voice, and as far as breathing and all that stuff goes. So I think there's times where rule of thumb, sing not maybe as loud as you would normally, and particularly if you don't have a mask on. So that's what we're going to recommend. But we will have we're going to try to have worship aids this week, so hand out a page that have songs, and partly even if you don't sing, some of the lyrics to the songs that Mary picks and her helpers pick for our masses, beautiful. It's the lyrics and I know it's hard to pick up all the lyrics when you're just being sung from above and you're listening, and so we hope that it'll enhance people's worship experience, I guess, to have the words in their hands and some music, and to sing along well. Yeah. Hi, doing good. I'm just doing a little recording here.
Oh.
Yeah, thanks. I know, I appreciate I appreciate that. Yeah. I think I look like I'm laid out. See, he was driving. Anyway, so Isn't that nice that people would stop? Yeah, I always hope I would do that. Sometimes I always think, oh, I should have stopped after I go by, you know. So, but now it makes me wonder, how come everybody's not stopping by if I look so pathetic? But anyway, so that's kind of our pilot weekend with singing and worship aids. Religious education starts not tonight. This Wednesday is the 22nd of September as I speak. 29th we'll kick up the religious ed. So that'll be in Group A. We have Group A and Group B again. Last week's bike ride with the RE and whoever else wanted to come, super fun. It was about 35 people showed up. Kelly bought us some ice cream, and so it was good. We went, you know, the sun sets so early now, right? Compared to like this July and June. So what did we do? We left St. James. We went down 11th Street toward Cameron, and we had that little jog on Cameron. Then we went through the cemetery, and then we paused in the middle of the cemetery and said a prayer for all those who died, all those whose bodies lay there, and other people we knew who died. So that was a nice faith moment in our trip. And then we caught Park Ridge Drive down the hill from the cemetery. And then we did the Lawrence Thompson shortcut to paradise, which is it's this little shortcut across from is the trail across from First Choice Recycling. You're almost to North Claremont, right before it turns that way, and you cut into the woods, and there's a trail, and it opens up right behind the Menard Tennis Center on Half Moon Lake. It's just beautiful. So we stopped there. We did a little sharing, our favorite thing about the fall, you know. So we had a lot of our boys said football, and we had one of our adults say Oktoberfest, and gosh, I don't even know what I said. Did I say the fall colors maybe? I don't know. But that was good. So a little personal sharing. We had to keep moving though because the sun was getting lower. And then we cut through Carson Park. We didn't do the long way. We didn't go by Paul Bunyan statue. We went the short way, right by the baseball field and the Hank Aaron statue. And then we went down to the trail, past the Mayo Hospital, and then we had to cross Cameron, which is a challenge, but we did. And then we tested ourselves to see if we could get up the 7th Street hill that connected us to Vine and then back to. But it was fun. It was a really good thing. We'll do it again next year for sure. Maybe again this year. Trunk or treat. So that was great fun last year. So partly because COVID, I guess mostly because COVID. Last year, instead of people that they wanted their children to have a trick or treat experience, but didn't, want to do the usual. We did trunk or treat, and so Beth is organizing this again. And so if you want to be a trunk, if you want to pull up with your car and have some kind of display or basically pass out treats to people from your car, I think most of the folks did a little costuming or some decorations on their car, and it was fun. Yeah, you wouldn't have to. But if you want to be part of that, we just have the cars pull up on the big wide playground we have behind school. We have a little route for a trunk or treat. So that'll be happening on Saturday before Halloween, October 30th. So not on Halloween itself, but on the 30th between 4 and 6 o'clock. So will it be happening during Mass? Yes, it will, because Mass will be going on at 4:30. So I'll have dual things happening. So anyway, that'll be all right. There'll be room to park. We got a lot of property. So that's big. I know some excited parents that their 12-year-old and up will be able to be vaccinated. If you haven't heard that, so you can just go to a lot of places in town to be able to get your COVID vaccine if you're now as young as 12 years old. I just learned that today. The loop in church, back to kind of church news. So we have this thing called loop. If you have a certain, it's called a T-coil and a hearing aid for hearing. We had this section that was looped. It was a big project Father Schultz and others got going some years ago. And really, really nice. And but now the whole church is looped. The whole church is looped. I had a rumor that maybe even the gathering space is looped, but we're not sure. Christine was going to check in on that. But the whole church, you can sit anywhere in church now, and if you have that T-coil and a hearing aid, it'll be just like having a speaker in your ear. So, okay. So that's some more parish news. What else we got? Hey, the Bible study. It sounds like, it isn't a surprise, but the men's Bible study is in peril. So it looks like the women's Bible study's got lots of interest and it'll be good. Well, we have 3 guys committed, but you can't always be there every week. And so they met last week for the first time. They meet on Mondays at 7. And the Parish survey said there was a demand, so we came up with a group. But just those 3 guys came, nobody else. And they're like, oh, I don't think we can carry a group for just 3 of us. If I don't come, and there's just 2. And, so here's your chance, guys, or if you know any guys who might be interested in a Bible study. Monday at 7, show up in the gathering space. That's the only way to save the men's Bible study. Otherwise, that'll dissolve when it's barely off the ground. So, okay, so a little, it's good things. A lot of it is I know there's an interest there. It's just kind of getting the communication and getting the timing right. And if you just think, oh, I really want to do it, but I just can't make it on Monday. So this will be. Wait a minute though. Oh, good thing I caught myself. It's Monday, but the 4th. The 4th of it, so not this coming Monday. Everybody shows up. So there's no men's Bible study this coming Monday. It'll be twice a month kind of thing. So October 4th, 7 o'clock. I'll probably mention it next week too. Okay. Speaking of Bible studies, I ran into Warren Petrick. I don't know if you know who he is, but he's a well-known, well-liked person. His faith's real important to him and things like that. I met him. I anointed his I think it's his wife's father or something like that. I forget who it was, but years ago. And we just kind of clicked, We enjoyed talking to each other, and we co-ministered at a memorial service on Monday. And he did some music, and I did some preaching and praying. And anyway, he has this new song. He said, "I got something for you after the service," and it's a beautiful piece that he heard about called "Breathe on Me." I thought it was going to be all "Breathe on me, O breath of God." It wasn't that one. It was like "Breathe on me, O God," and it's just a one-track CD that he gifted me with, and it's just really beautiful. It's about someone, I think, contemplating their death. I got to listen to it more closely ahead, but I just thought of him because he dedicated that CD to all of the Bible studies that have ever happened in the Chippewa Valley. And so that was pretty neat. So we're trying to get our own Bible studies going. Anyway, it's just a little thing. But I think the gist of this song was, when I'm dying, I'm considering my last breath with this body. Breathe on me, O God, that I know your breath, and that I know your breath is eternal, and that if I share in your breath with my faith, even when my breath stops, your breath will continue in me, and I'll live with you forever. I think that's kind of the gist of the song, and it's an old hymn from the 19th century, but I just had never heard it. So, anyway, so I thank him for that. Let's see. There's a lot of traffic on Highway F, huh? You hear all those cars going by? I feel like more people should be checking if I'm dead, because I'm kind of leaning. My bike is on its side. This camera is mounted on my handlebars, so that it's like the bike crash, and I'm just kind of laying here. Anyway, okay, so hey, tonight, I don't know what you're doing tonight, but tonight I'm watching the 4th of 4 parts of the Muhammad Ali story, the Ken Burns documentary on PBS. I mentioned it this past weekend, and I don't know, I think maybe I mentioned to people over the years, but I don't know if I ever showed it to anybody. Can you see that? So this is the story again, in case you didn't hear it. It's hard for me to tell what's in the screen. So it says, "To Tom from Muhammad Ali, peace." No, peace says peace at the bottom. And above it, it says 5/2/76. So May 2nd, 1976. I got his autograph. My father was on a trip. He was a CPA, and he had some leadership in the CPA organizations of Wisconsin or something like that. So there was a convention in Washington, D.C. And he went, and he just had the idea it'd be nice for Tom to see. I'm the youngest child of 4 and there's a gap with 6 years. So my older brothers were and sister were old, kind of out of range in a way. They were kind of out of high school already. But I guess Randy was a junior. But so why don't you bring Tom out and we'll spend a few days. He can see, Washington. So they did, and on the way back, I didn't know this, but I looked up the chronology. He was the heavyweight champion of the world then, and he had a fight. I can't remember who he was against, but it was kind of an in-between fight. It wasn't a real thriller like Joe Frazier or George Foreman or something like that. But he had a fight in Washington, D.C. And this flight was about 3-4 days after that, so he was flying home to Chicago. It was a D.C. to Chicago flight. And I was sitting next to my mom and Coach, of course, and she said, "Tom, that's Muhammad Ali." I said, "Where?" He goes, "First row, first class." So we looked through the curtain. The curtain was still open, separated first class from Coach, and it was clear. It was obviously him. I've seen him on TV many times. I watched the fights. I enjoyed him, and I was a very shy boy, and so I surprised myself when she said, "Tom, if you want his autograph, you got to go right now. They're going to pull the curtains." And I was reading a little book, and had a trade paperback, and she said, "Here's a pen. Take your book. Go get his autograph." So I just jumped over her, and I walked up, and I walked up right next to him. And he was sitting on the aisle, big man, big hands on his knee. There's a woman sitting to his right. They both looked tired. Honestly, they didn't look particularly happy. But I said, I remember what I said. I said, "Hi, champ. Could I have your autograph?" And then I kind of blank out. I mean, I know he took the book and the pen and he signed it, but he signed it to Tom. So he must have said, "What's your name?" Something like that. But I don't remember his voice speaking to me, which would have been neat to remember. But he signed it, and I went back, and I was just on top of the world. And my mom always kept that book safe, and then not so long ago, I had it framed. But in this documentary, he mentioned, and I actually had read this in a book too, when he was about 17 years old, so 5 years older. No, wait a minute, I was 12. Sugar Ray Robinson, is that his name? 50s, middleweight, great boxer, a lot of flash, considered maybe the best boxer in the world for speed and all those things. And Ali really liked him and said, I really want to meet him, And he was in Harlem, New York City, and he heard he was going to be there, and so he went and he waited for his car to arrive outside this boxing gym, and it arrived. And basically he encountered a very arrogant Sugar Ray Robinson. It didn't really. I think he signed the autograph, but he just didn't have any. There was no kindness or joy, and it's kind of like, I did this for you, kid. Now leave me alone. And he said from that moment on, told himself, if I'm ever famous enough for anyone to want my autograph, especially a child, I will. I'll be good. I'll be good to that child, And so. I guess I benefited from that. He was tired on a plane. I bet you it's the last thing like I said, I think he was having kind of relationship issues then, I think, if according to the biography that I read. And and I just think, heavyweight champion of the world, civil rights guy, knows what it's like to not be treated as an equal because of the color of his skin, all these kind of things. And here's this kind of little privileged white kid that kind of shows up. Can I have your autograph, champ? And he's very kind and very gracious, and that speaks a lot to me, I think. So anyway, there's been this PBS series with him on it, and I think it's been good. I hope they get into his later years where he really was a voice for peace. He was kind of, I don't know if he was a voice for peace early on, but I think what people admire about him was, after he took the first heavyweight championship title, he said, I don't have to be who you want me to be. And you don't like that I changed my name. You don't call me by Muhammad Ali. That's my name. That's my name. And you should call me by my name. I don't have to be who you want me to be. And I think that's very powerful and courageous and strong. I did get a note from someone, because I mentioned in the homily, that they were sort of scandalized that I sort of affirmed him because he wasn't Christian. And well, I guess I look for the good in anybody, whatever their creed is. I don't think he's a saint. He had a lot of flaws in his life and everything. So, but he has some really beautiful, inspiring quotes. I think the story of his life has a lot of beauty and inspirational quality to it. And the thing I mentioned in church was his Parkinson's disease. He said it taught me that I'm not the greatest, God is. And the Second Vatican Council in the 60s talked about our attitude toward world religions, and it says, there's elements of truth in all the world's great religions, and that would include the Jewish faith, the Muslim faith, so Judaism, Islam, I guess Buddhism. You just kind of go down the line. As there's elements of truth and goodness there, and there's no reason we can't, acknowledge that and affirm that in each other. So I've always liked to learn about other faiths. At the same time, I don't waffle on my Christian faith. I do believe that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. And I just find that Christian faith can be enriched by learning more about other things and inspiration. What really inspires us is inspires me anyway. It's people finding the strength to go on, people finding that God is great and to humble themselves before God and to seek wisdom in God, to find wisdom, to share it, to be inspired to suffer with dignity and courage, to find forgiveness and mercy, to reach out to the people that are suffering horribly in the world and to try to be of service to them, to know their lives are not just about themselves. These are, and all these things I just said, that's in Islam, that's in Judaism, that's in Christianity, certainly. I love the way it's articulated and celebrated in Christianity, and I'm intrigued by the way it is in the other religions too. But anyway, I think that's, I just wanted to mention that. There is this thing, the Pope, I was driving back from Milwaukee the other day, and I stopped at a wayside, and there was a Muslim family, cute little kids, and a mom and dad probably in their upper 20s or 30s. And I said hello, they said hello, but they're kind of kept by themselves. And as I was coming out of the rest area, he was unrolling his mat, his prayer mat, and he was pointing east, and he got down on his knees and put his forehead to the ground and prayed, and I always think that's beautiful. When I was in the Holy Land 2 years ago, you'd see that all the time. Come through the checkpoint at Bethlehem, through the occupation wall, and there'd be, not everybody, but more of the observant Muslims would get their prayer rugs out and put them down and all pray together. It's not a bad thing, right? So, speaking of, I thought this was interesting too, in terms of this. It's a peripheral, but so Pope Francis went to Hungary and Slovakia last week. I think I mentioned some of that. And so one of the things going on in Hungary is the president's pretty anti-immigration. Yeah, there's a lot of the refugees from Syria and places like that. And a lot of these refugees are Muslim, okay? So, and some of the European governments that don't want them talk about we have to protect our Christian heritage. So we don't want to let a lot of Muslims in because we have to protect our Christian heritage. And, that populism can have this kind of rallying cry. But anyway, the Pope, he confronts that stuff. He's very much into Jesus the servant. And he said, the cross isn't just something we should wear as an earring, as a necklace, as a decoration, something to hold up as, I'm a believer, so I'm better than anyone else. He said, look at the cross. What's on it? It's Jesus with his arms, open to the world. It's Jesus with his arms reaching out to the poor and vulnerable and refugee, for example. And so he kind of said, don't use the cross as an excuse for not being kind to the stranger and the refugee, because it's much the opposite of what it's for. So I thought it was pretty powerful. So can I just read this to you? Last thing, when I got 24 minutes. It's just, it's just a lot of conflict. I mentioned about singing, not singing, and we've had people come to the parish because they didn't like what was going on in their parish. We've had a lot of people leave the parish because they were too strict about things, and we just got this note. And first of all, and I don't mean anyone who's not like this agreeable is bad. I realize people have convictions and you want to be able to express them. I just always pray it's done with respect and love, in a Christian context. But I just, sometimes, so we get a lot of, the school principal has been dealing with a lot, and they're hard times. Someone's got to make a decision, and decisions don't make everybody happy, and Anyway, I just want to read this because it gave me hope that maybe we can get through this peacefully, So, it's a school family. It said, I just want to send a heartfelt message to the staff and team and to Father Tom on the difficulties COVID places on them. I pray for your well-being and strength in this time. I weep for myself and my kids at the same time as I struggle daily in my professional arena. She works in healthcare as well, for the difficulties our community members place on us. At the end of the day, I want my children to be a part of a system that serves each other, that speaks in love, not just for justice and personal rights, although I respect that too. If you want us in a mask, we'll come in our masks. If you want us there without, we'll come with or without. We want the best for you and the best for all. And knowing what that is at every moment is hard. Many blessings to you. Anyway, I don't mean that to contrast anyone who disagree I'm not trying to put anybody down here, but I just thought that's where hope lies. That we're kind of all in this together. This is not easy. I'm going to try to be as community-minded as possible. So, anyway, okay, let's just take this in a little bit. I'll try to do all good gifts like I did a couple weeks ago, but I started it too low, so I'll try to start it higher this time. All good gifts around us are sent from heaven above. So thank the Lord, oh thank the Lord for all his love. God bless you.